An improbable, impossible, shocking, unbelievable victory has the New York Jets sitting at 3-3 and in much better shape to be a 2023 NFL playoff team. I'm Glenn Norton with JetNation.com. Be sure to log into JetNation.com where you can register and become a part of what is the most active Jets message board on the web. How can you not be fired up? How can you, if you are a Jets fan, you should be absolutely pumped right now. The New York Jets win a game that they had no business winning. None. None. Even though I said today, if the Jets are going to win this game, they've got to get constant pressure up front from the defense, which they had today. And that's a big part of the reason why they won this game. But you had no Sauce Gardner. You had no DJ Reed. You had no Brandon Eccles. You are down to your fourth and fifth corners. You are playing guys who weren't in the NFL a few days ago. And you're playing them against a team that was in the Super Bowl last year with Jalen Hurts at quarterback and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith at wide receiver. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith should have scored multiple touchdowns. They combined for 0. Yes, A.J. Brown had 131 yards. Who cares? You kept him out of the end zone. You held the Eagles to 14 points. You pitched a shutout in the second half. This defense was lights out without their number 1, 2, and 3 corners. That doesn't happen in today's NFL. In a game where it's just bombs away and everyone's throwing the ball and every rule in the book is dictated is put in place to help offenses succeed. Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, show them all the love in the world. They just faced a team that was in the Super Bowl last year with cornerbacks who weren't in the NFL a week ago, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Wilson, another game where the offense stalled in the red zone. They had to rely on field goals and a late touchdown on the ground to score all of their points. He did throw a bullet, too, a nice ball to Randall Cobb on a 2-point conversion to get them to 20 in the fourth quarter. But Zach Wilson, as far as I'm concerned, if you're not excited about the way he's going, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I get that we all want to see touchdowns, but as I've been saying from training camp, and I'm still saying it now, I want to see progress and I want to see him get better. And you can say, like, oh, well, over the last few weeks, what's he done that's better? He's been about the same. He moves the ball, they don't score touchdowns, minus the KC game, which is true. That's true. But as you heard Robert Saleh say on One Jets Drive a few days ago, and I believe I said it on our last show, maybe the previous week, with Chris Schubert discussing this team, or discussing the Zach Wilson situation, is that Zach Wilson has been thrust into what is sort of a perfect storm for failure. And that's why I like the way he's navigated it. He didn't come into the season as a guy who anyone expected to play. He ends up playing essentially from snap 5, and he's playing some of the best defenses in the NFL. As a guy, again, slow down and think about this. Zach Wilson isn't supposed to play because everyone pretty much agrees. I mean, the season ended, and the first thing the Jets said, and Woody Johnson came out and said, we have to get a veteran quarterback. He made it clear the organization viewed Zach Wilson as the problem, but one they were willing to work with, but he wasn't ready. And I love that they hit the reset button. I love that they didn't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I love that Joe Douglas said, we made a mistake playing this kid too early. And so we're not going to hold that against him. We're not going to release Zach Wilson or trade Zach Wilson or, end our relationship with Zach Wilson because we played him too early. We are going to trust our evaluation. We evaluated him at BYU and believed he was good enough to be a franchise quarterback. So we're going to stick by that evaluation, and we're going to pretend these first 2 years didn't happen. And we're going to start all over again. And Zach Wilson's going to be our quarterback eventually, but this next year or two is going to be about mentoring him and developing him the right way. And then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Joe Douglas didn't think to get another quarterback, so Zach Wilson could stay in the background. And Zach Wilson gets thrust into action. And he's playing the Dallas Cowboys. And he's playing the Buffalo Bills. And he's playing the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like all these high-level, top-rated defenses in a very short time frame. This would have been a perfect opportunity for Zach Wilson to just bomb. And you could argue his career may have been over. That Kansas City game, to me, was the biggest game of his career. You just added Simeon. Everyone knew if Zach flopped in that game, there's every chance in the world they were going to go to Trevor Simeon, and we may have never heard from Zach Wilson again. But Zach Wilson stepped up, played his best game as a pro. Then he goes to Denver, where and I tweeted something about this the other day, and some people got very angry. But people don't like hearing things that make them upset. Um, so the Jets go into Denver, and they put up 21, 22 points. I know, of course, there was the defensive score and the safety. So 9 points, and they scored 31. So 22, they scored 22 points on offense. And everybody says, "Oh, big deal. Who cares? It's against the Broncos. The Broncos stink. The Broncos can't stop anyone. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. Blah 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 blah." And then they play the Chiefs, and the Chiefs scored 19 points. So Zach Wilson's offense that he led against the Denver Broncos scored more points than the Kansas City Chiefs offense led by Patrick Mahomes. This is just a fact that I stated, and the number of people. Are you trying to say Zach Wilson's better than Patrick Mahomes? Shut. No, no. I'm saying that perhaps this assumption that everyone is just going to roll up and score 70 on Denver, maybe that's stupid. And maybe they're not a defense the team's going to walk over. They, again, as I mentioned, they got some starters back who were injured. So you expect them to play better defense. And they did. They played better defense a couple weeks in a row. Pat Mahomes put up 19. Zach Wilson put up 22. So let's give Zach Wilson a little credit. And that was all I was saying. But some people got really mad. And they were like, "Oh, I guess we should sign him to a $50 million a year contract." No. Just pointing out a fact. I'm sorry if facts hurt your feelings. So where the Jets are right now, they have the defense playing lights out. And look, I get that it's been frustrating with the defense. I get they've given up a ton of third down conversions and they've allowed some offenses to stay on the field. Started the game today with a 1,000,000-yard drive. I mean, that touchdown to Jalen Hurts. Are you kidding me? They get the stop at the goal line, and then these mythical these. I'm done with the refs this year, and I always say like can't blame the refs. The refs they're not perfect. They make mistakes. They hand AJ Brown a catch on a ball that he didn't have possession of. They hand Jalen Hurts a touchdown. They give they take an interception away from the Jets. They're just terrible. They're terrible. But who cares? Jets got the win, but they've basically positioned themselves now. You're sitting at 3-3 instead of 2-4. You've had one of the most improbable wins you'll ever have. Of course, they snapped the 12-game losing streak against the Eagles. I weirdly don't give a damn about that. I didn't then. I remember when I first heard that it was a 10-game streak. I was like, wow, that's really weird. Is it weird that I don't care to? Non-division rival, non-conference opponent, don't care. You play them every now and then. Weird stat, sure, but what did that mean today? It meant nothing because the Jets defense went out and intercepted Jalen Hurts 3 times. Zach Wilson protected the ball. That's Zach Wilson's role. Protect the football, and now we get to see some softer defenses. As the season goes on, the Jets go into the bye. They come out. They play the Giants. So it's not a Cowboys team. It's not a Bills team. It's not an Eagles team. Even Kansas. I got to look up Kansas City's defense. I forget where they're ranked. But basically, Zach Wilson entered a situation where it was the perfect opportunity for him to flop, fold, and fail and land on the bench, possibly never to be seen in Jets green again. But instead, he dialed it up, played well against the Chiefs, did enough against the Broncos and the Eagles to win. Has the Jets sitting at 3-3. Absolutely remarkable effort from Zach Wilson. Even better effort from the defense. They were just you can't say enough. You can't say one of the most impressive defensive efforts since the Rex years. Honestly. Cornerbacks 4, 5, 6, and 7, and you held the defending NFC champs to 14 points. Absolutely unbelievable. Nice job. Nice job by the guys up front. Both the Williams brothers. Everybody gets a game ball. Everyone. I hope Robert Saleh gave everybody a game ball. 1 game ball last week for Hack. Should be 53 game balls this week for everybody. Practice squad got everyone. Improbable win. Loved every second of it. We will have plenty on that and more Wednesday night. Myself, Chris Schubert, Jets beat the Eagles. The 3-3 Jets set up nicely for a playoff run. I'm Glenn Naughton. Have a good one, Jets fans.